Good morning and welcome. Let us take a few deep breaths in together, settling into this space and into this present moment. I still feel like I'm in the process of establishing what this ceremonial healing space is for. And one question that naturally arises from all that we've talked about so far is who or what is this figure of the Divine Mother? I've spoken before that she is the one that we must approach and be in relationship with to guide our healing and our restoration to wholeness. It is very easy to get hung up on words and language, and it is important to understand that the Divine Mother is not gender related, nor is she part of any particular culture or religion. She is primordial. And yes, it is true that perhaps in India and the saints of India, they are the ones who have a lot to show us about being in right relationship with her. And also the indigenous cultures across the planet have a lot to teach in this respect. But anyone, anywhere can cultivate this and needs to cultivate this truly. In that primordial sense, there are two forces. There is the unmanifested, the seed potential, which we could call the Divine Father, if we wish to give it a label. It is pure vibration, a space where everything is in a state of oneness. There is no division. One seed point. That everything is birthed from and will eventually return to. And then out of the unmanifested comes the manifested world. Not just planet Earth, but all stars, all galaxies. Everything that exists in the dimensions of space and time. And the Divine Mother governs all that is created. She is the guiding force for that process of creation from its beginning to its end and its return to source. Now, I'd like to use an image of a school, because this manifested world is designed to be a learning environment, much like a school. We are all participants in that learning environment. And to help evolve and grow wherever she wishes to guide us. It is beyond our comprehension to what purpose the manifested world serves. Why everything has come into creation. Excuse me. And will one day return back to source. For what purpose does that serve? That is a mystery that is unfathomable for us to understand. But yet we are here, and participants in that. And so we are like the children in the school, learning and growing through the curriculum that has been given. And our teachers are those that the Divine Mother employs to guide our development, whether they be our parents, our mentors, or our spirit guides, nature guides, a whole host of support there. And then the Divine Mother herself is like the principal of that school, the one in charge, governing the whole direction of where that school moves and grows. And one must ask, what creates the ideal learning environment for us as children in that school? And fundamental to good learning is the absence of control. If she was to impose her will, impose her curriculum upon us, if the teachers got us to sit down at the desk and just talked at us all day, and got us to behave as they wanted us to behave, there would be no learning. That school would be dead. A healthy learning environment is when a child feels it can be engaged in the learning process. It's experiential, hands-on. There is room for that child to explore its interests and where it wishes to learn and grow. That is how a healthy school is designed. But the challenge is that within that space that we children have, one can choose to learn through the darkened path. And that is how many of us do indeed learn. Making unwise and unhealthy choices, causing ourselves and others harm and suffering. And it is very easy for us to conclude that the Divine Mother is failing or does not even exist. It can be easy to conclude that the dark has more power than light in this classroom of planet Earth, and the way human beings are showing up here. And that is a misunderstanding of the learning environment and how it must work. And that she must indeed be hands off. And to know that even though we may we may be able to choose a darkened path. We can never fall off her radar. We can never fall out of that classroom into the void. We are under her care and governance, even though we may not feel close to her. Now, last time I talked about the different aspects of the self. The spiritual self, the mental self, the emotional self, and the physical self. And the spiritual self can kind of be at ease in this particular school. It can understand the wisdom of why things have been set up the way they have on planet Earth. And can trust and have faith in her governance. Trust and faith that the darkened path is not going to lead us to oblivion. But it is our emotional self and our nervous system in particular that really struggles to be in this classroom. And I see the nervous system as almost like a barometer of how well we are in relationship with the principal of the school, the Divine Mother. Because if we have no faith and trust in her, and we are moving about this classroom, it is inevitable that we are going to experience a lot of stress, a lot of discomfort, emotional overwhelm. Our nervous system will become frazzled and frayed. It is inevitable. We will take on a huge responsibility and carry a weight that we were never designed to carry if we assume that there's no one in charge here. We will try and fix the wrongs of this world, correct people's darkness, try and bring them back to light. And there is a great temptation that is increasing, particularly in recent years, where we are becoming more aware of the darkened corners of this world, the darkened behaviors. And one can focus on that and carry the weight of that and feel really burdened by the stress of that. And we can take that on the collective level, but also on our own personal lives. And trying to navigate relationships and the weight of money and employment and parenting, just the daily grind of human life can feel like a huge weight if we have no faith and trust in this governing force. And the first moment of coming into relationship with that Divine Mother, building that faith and trust, is the way in which we try and care and calm and love ourselves, nurture our emotional health and our nervous system. We may go for a walk into nature. We may do some breathwork exercises, meditation, prayer. Qigong. So many different ways that we can support our emotional self and release some of that responsibility we feel like we're carrying. In perceiving all the darkness around us. And those practices are ways that we cultivate and get closer to her. It truly is hell on earth to be here and to feel like there's no one in charge, that there's no one guiding where this story is going, where this journey is taking us, the journey of creation. To feel it's just happening by chance. And that people are just falling off into the dark and taking us with them, off the radar. That the plan's gone all out the window. There is a great weight there in a soul that carries that belief. A great torment. And the antithesis of that is faith. And to do what we can to cultivate that faith. And to trust in the mystery. To trust in her guiding leadership. And to see the beauty and the grace in her creation. To see the good. To see the optimism and the hope and the promise. And to call that forth. To shed those layers of weight, expand one's horizon, open the eyes, breathe in this beautiful, freely given air, cleanse in her waters. This is ceremonial healing. When we begin to close that gap, and allow our nervous system and our emotions to be calmed. Thank you, Divine Mother. Thank you for being here. I call you into my life. Guide me. Guide me into love. Guide me into service. and ultimately guide me home. And that is the message I wanted to bring through today. As I continue to prepare this space, so that we may be able to bring all that has caused us to lose faith, bring that to the altar. All the difficulties and challenging experiences in this learning environment. Let us bring those to the altar and restore our faith and trust in the glory of the manifested world. Until next time, blessings, dear one.